Hi Kaouther, I'm Ezelle from The Upcoming. It's really lovely to speak to you today. So for people that haven't seen it, could you tell us a little bit about your film, Four Daughters? What can viewers expect when they watch it?
So For Daughter is my last movie. It's a documentary, kind of. It's a meta-documentary. It's a film about real people, about a woman and her four daughters living in Tunisia. And what I did is to tell their story. I brought actresses. So the real family, with the help of actresses, they try to summon the past to not only reenact it, but also to understand it. So it's a movie about sisterhood. It's a movie about motherhood. It's a movie about radicalization. It's a movie about what does it mean to be a teenager. So this is Four Daughters.
And what inspired you to tell the story? Had you heard about their story before this, and what made you choose to tell it?
I've heard the mother of the four daughters in the news in Tunisia talking about her story, and I found the mother a very intriguing character. And I was like fascinated by these women's stories, because this kind of story in general we it's a masculine word, but here you have a really feminine. So I contacted the mother and I started from there.
And how did you go about the filming process? Because you pair up documentary style with your filming. So what were the choices for that?
In general, I love the frontier between genre. I find it really interesting between fiction and documentary, because at the end we are doing cinema, like documentary is seen like the poor cinema of the poor, kind of. But I think that there is a lot of exploration and freedom in documentary that we don't have in fiction. So by doing this movie, Four Daughters, between the two, it allows me to choose the best tools from documentary and from fiction to tell this story in a very consistent way, because it's a complicated story with so many layers. So I needed all the tools of cinema to tell it.
And what was it like working with them to bring it to screen? Did you build a very strong relationship with them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you film people's life, it's always challenging. You ask yourself a hundred of questions about what are you doing, what you should reveal, what you should say and not. So, first of all, I became one of them, member of their family, and as I told you, I started in 2016, and we filmed in 2021. So a lot of years where we knew each other. We had this kind of trust between each other. The mother and the daughters followed a therapy, so they can be filmed with doing at least a huge step to understand their trauma. On the set, before shooting, I wanted to have a crew, composed majority of women, behind the camera, for the sound, technician, and we wrote together kind of contract to be nice, kind, without tension, because in shooting you have a lot of tension. So we can create a safe space on the set, not only for this family, but also for the actresses, for the actor, for the team. So we can express what we feel, and we can be in a safe place.
And I think, obviously, the fact that the two eldest daughters were radicalized, and moved away from their family it's really, unsettling. Was it very important for you to tell that is a reality for so many girls, actually, isn't it? Was that an important element for you to obviously talk about?
The fact they
got radicalized and moved away?
I mean, as I told you, it was this story was on the news in Tunisia, you know. And what is in the news? We have always the shocking part of the story, and we never, you know, dive deep into the reason and into why the why of the thing. So it's not that important for me the facts, you know. It's like, you know, a pretext. It's like something, you know, to do this movie. So I had to dive deep in their education, in their relationship, in their history of violence between mother and daughter from generation to generation, to understand the origin of the tragedy, you know. So when you see the movie, the part of news is really at the end, you know. All the movie is about remembering trauma, about remembering violent moment. But the movie is also very funny, you know. We are talking about tragedy, we are talking about trauma, but when you see the movie, you understand that there is a lot of hilarious moment because Olfa and her daughters are very funny, and I think it's their way to cope with this tragedy also.
And how does it feel to be here at the London Film Festival with your film here, Four Daughters? And what's kind of the reaction been so far?
First of all, I'm really happy to be in London. It's my first time in London, which is completely crazy, you know. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm waiting to see the reaction of the audience. And yeah, I mean, the tickets were sold out like many weeks before so this is great. This shows that we have here a very curious audience. So yeah, I want to meet them and to hear, you know, their feedback.
Oh, well, thank you so much for speaking to me. Good luck with it all. I'm sure you'll get very positive feedback. It was amazing. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you.